that again. Show them what it did.
And there'll be no algae.
Yeah, there'll be no algae and no life.
They sit here on this bio bag. You know, they watch us all day.
You'll have my number and you can give me a quote for 100
Wow.
of these rocks.
So what's my take on it?
Does he like the pond too?
He thinks of himself as a pond widower.
Look at that. It's like mercury.
My great-grandmother survived the sinking of the Titanic.
Do it. I like this lady. Welcome to living the Aquascape lifestyle. So I'm Greg Wittstock, the Pond Guy. This is my channel, Greg Wittstock, the Pond Guy, and it's all about showcasing how people all over the world, including in Knoxville, Tennessee, with Mr. John Adams,
What's
Modern
up, world?
Design, Aquascaping, live the aquascape lifestyle. So we got a pond, right?
Yep, absolutely. It's been the last couple of years we put this project together. This was actually an overflow job, so the boys were on a project and Shelley had a time frame. So I brought in my buddy Aaron and stole a couple guys from our team, and we multitasked and got this pond built for her because she was moving into a new home.
Oh, wow. Oh, the lotus is blooming. Perfect. Hi, Shelley.
How are you?
Just getting over COVID. I'll give you a high five, even though I love hugs. I love the lotus. You got some shade screens here.
Yeah.
A huge fish.
Yeah.
I didn't think this. How long did you build this pond, John?
I told you she was a fish guru, man. She had her own fish coming when it happened. We built the pond and the fish arrived.
So you had a pond before, Shelley?
I did. I had a pond for about, 8.5 years.
In a different house, or?
Yeah, a different house.
Uh-huh.
And they're my pets, so I had to bring them.
They are huge, beautiful butterfly koi, too.
Oh,
so
thank you.
compare and contrast the pond that you owned for 8 years with the one that John built.
When we moved into our old house, there was an existing water feature.
Okay, so you bought a house with a pond.
We did. It was more of a water feature. It was quite grand. We had a hill behind our house.
Well, you have a hill behind this house, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it was a lot bigger.
Okay.
So this is my boy Eros. You can see he's staring at me all the time.
They want that. Okay, so you bought a house, happened to have a pond, but you fell in love with the pond.
Yeah, my old pond, it had quite a hill. It was probably about 2 times, 3 times this. And it was built in. So it was like a giant tube. And it had 2 or 3 different levels of waterfalls that came down like arms, cascading down the sides. But it wasn't a koi pond, and they just weren't happy there.
So this is much bigger.
It's different. There's more of a pool for them.
So you bought a home that had an existing pond, and you fell in love with the hobby?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. It's a really funny story. When I got the water feature, I realized that the old people own the house just take a cup of Clorox, pour it in there every week. I know, right? And there'll be no algae.
Yeah, there'll be no algae and no life.
And no life. So I went on a hunt to try to understand. I had never even really had catfish. So I was like, well, I wonder if I can rehabilitate this water.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, so I figured it out, and it was quite a learning curve for a summer. And figured out how to rehab the water, and I started with a couple of fish, and they got eaten by herring. The whole thing was a learning curve, and I know your viewers, that's the scourge of their life.
Herons.
Herons, but it's been a learning curve, like I said, and now I've had the 4 biggest ones now. They're about 10. Actually, there's so much I want to tell you about this. Obviously, it is the love of my life.
Aw.
When we first moved in.
You and your husband?
Yes.
And does he like the pond too?
He thinks of himself as a pond widower.
Because you're just always out here with the pond, huh?
Well, I mean, look at them. They look at me. They love me.
Every day you wake up and come and see what the koi are doing, don't you? First thing.
Every day. That's where I have my coffee. This is right here.
Aw, that makes me happy. Yeah. So tell me about this rock.
This rock
Gorgeous.
was given to me by my neighbor, Lorraine and George Ellis. They have a daughter, Sarah, and she made it. Actually, I think Lorraine commissioned the rock from her daughter, and they gave it to me.
How old is her daughter?
She's an adult.
Okay, well, tell the adult that I would like a quote for 100 of those.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
You want me to ask them? Okay.
I'm going to send you this video, you send it to them, and then you'll have my number and she can give me a quote for 100
Wow.
of these rocks.
So what's my take on that?
I can tell by knowing her that her energy is very subdued right now. She is uber passionate about this pond and those fish.
Well,
She
her husband's a
absolutely
pond
loves
widow.
them, and
So John and I are going to Japan in November to buy koi. So let me buy you a koi. If we go ahead and do business with your neighbor, that'll be my gift to you as a commission, a koi from Japan.
Are you kidding me?
John, I'm not kidding, am I?
No, he's not kidding.
Oh my gosh. Wow, Greg, thank you so much.
So we'll be over there and we'll take some pictures and then you can pick which one you want and then we'll ship it over.
I'm going to go live several times. I'm going to put together some videos and do some Facebook Lives and let all of our pond people know that we're going to be over there so that if anybody wants to buy fish, I mean, I'm guessing truthfully that the fish are probably going to be $600 and up by the time they get to your door because you got to
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
quarantine. They ship them in and go through all that. Then they ship them to you. By the time they get to your door,
Yeah.
they've been handled. But we're going to get the privilege of going around. I've been buying my Japanese koi through Kadama, and I'm seeing the list of breeders that we're going to, and I've bought fish from a lot of those breeders already, and they're phenomenal.
Now we get to go visit them in person.
Yep.
Are they mosquito fish?
No, they're baby koi probably.
I think they're mosquito fish.
Oh, are they? Is the frog hiding now?
Yeah.
I like this lady. Do it. Shade cloths help block some of the sun, which you can still see how much blooms they have. It just helps break down some of the lighting, and fish love shade. That's why they go underneath the lilies a lot too. That's a big boy down there. And look at the lotus. The lotus is the queen of the pond for a reason. I do this every time I see a lotus. Look at that. It's like mercury. It's fun when it's raining. Is the frogs hiding now?
He is. There's 5 of them, and they sit here on this bio bag. You know, they watch us all day, and then they get on a rock.
Build it and they will come.
That's what I love. And the birds come and they drink out of that.
When the water falls on, it just pulls the birds in. So there's so much wildlife you get to enjoy here, huh?
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. And now we have some baby bunnies that have been playing around.
So look at this yard with this pond and this seating area versus the neighbors. It's a beautiful yard, but there's nothing to draw you outside. This is life. Every day you're out here.
Every day.
I forgot all about that.
So what happened?
She's got a video of a hawk, a red tail, that came right in here and just gets right down, and it's just loafing in the waterfall right here. Do that again. Show them what it did.
When we bought the house, it was conditional on being able to build this pond. That was actually in the contract. The landscaper here, I told her I was building a koi pond, and she goes, oh, well, do you know John Adams? I said, well, what's so special about this guy? And she pulled out her phone and she showed me Jerry's pond.
And now you just gave him 20 of your offspring babies, huh?
I did. I gave Jerry at least 20 of my babies of my fish. So I called John, and I think he was jet setting around the world somewhere building a pond. So he said, well, I'll come by like in a month. I'm like, no, if you come by in a month, it's too late. If you want this job, you gotta come now. And he said, okay, fine, I could come on Monday. And I remember we sat right there and signed a contract. They started the day we signed the contract. 4.5 days later, the pond was built. Days of my life, I sat right here. There was no furniture or anything yet. And I just sat there and had this amazing show of them.
Poetry in motion.
I know you're saying that, but it's true. It's really kind of impressive. I mean, if you're into it like
Yeah.
we are, you can't even imagine there was so much rock here. And he'd walk around, he'd look at it, he'd eyeball it for like 10 minutes, going back and forth, looking, walking around. Then he'd hoist one up in a strap, drive around, drop it, pick it back up because he didn't like it, and he'd start the process all over again. Stalk around like a panther again, looking at things.
So you were saying you have a YouTube channel?
I do. I have a YouTube channel called Shelley Finder Titanic Descendants because my great-grandmother survived the sinking of the Titanic.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Was she still alive when the movie came out?
No, she died in 1967, so I knew her.
Oh, it's your great grandma.
My
Okay.
great-grandmother. Yeah, well, my grandmother was born 11 months after the sinking, so if my great-grandmother hadn't survived, I wouldn't be having this conversation.
So you have a YouTube channel. We'll put a link to that about descendants of the Titanic.
Well, I'm building my Titanic Lego. I'm doing all kinds of stuff talking about Titanic. I have wonderful experts and Titanic friends that let me interview them. And
That is so cool. So you're a koi hobbyist and a Titanic passionate person.
I am, yeah.
You were saying about people that want to get their fish to eat out of their hands.
Well, a lot of people come over and they say, I love my fish. I'm out there with them. I don't know why, just they won't eat out of my hand. First of all, they got to see you. They got to know you. So you got to sit out there. And they recognize faces, actually. Usually you'll have a range of fish and personality. And I happen to have one that was really friendly. And I noticed that. So what I would do is I would take something that they couldn't really say no to, which was a shrimp. And I would reach my arm way out and then let her see that shrimp and smell it or sense it. And then I would just start immediately pulling my hand back. And then I wouldn't give it to her. I would just
Tease.
Well, it wasn't really a tease. It was telling them, I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm not trying to grab you. I'm not fishing for you. And so eventually I did that enough time where I reached as far as I could and just slowly pulled my hand back. And then eventually they would come up and get it. And then they would say, oh, okay, I see how this works.
Yeah, you started with one friendly one, and then they all became friendly.
Yeah, you got to find that one. Like if you have a chagoy or, I mean, they're usually the friendliest.
They're usually the friendliest. What is this cat's name? This is a cool looking cat.
That is Ezrella, yeah.
Look at those eyes. Does Ezrella like the koi?
She doesn't really pay much attention to them, but she's 17 years old, so.